Many thanks for staying with us. Let's go back to Parliament because President Akufo-Addo has been pledging that he would commission Agenda 111 hospitals before he leaves hospital. He's been announcing a number of measures to make our economy better. There's been reactions after the delivery of the State of the Nation's address. Let's go to Parliament now and get some reactions.
Every dimension of our economy. State of the Nation's address that is addressing almost everything. From TVET, academics, normal, formal, and even the Creative Arts Center, building a school for them. Which aspect of our social stratification did this State of the Nation address did not touch? Find out, even especially in the area of agriculture, which is the mainstay of our economy, in terms of even revenue generation, in terms of job creation, in terms of employment, infrastructure, to the extent that unprecedented achievement in our northern regions.
Talking about corruption, the president failed to touch on corruption.
I think he spoke about that. He spoke about corruption. Yes, that wasn't predominant. And what once, but so he touched on it. How many times did you, oh, can I speak, please? How many times did you want the president to touch on the corruption? Tell me anywhere on the continent of Africa that a president has set up anti-corruption institution and decided out of political will and readiness and preparedness, put in place and in charge opposition leading member. Where? Tell me, where? You haven't seen that before. That where? Which country? So in terms of preparedness, it's not about propaganda, it's not about perception. Can you allow me, please? It's not about perception, it's not about propaganda, it's not about deception. It is about facts, political real.
So it was a good State of the Nation.
Look, put that aside. Let me tell you. Look, let me tell you. In terms of irrigation, to improve rice growing, maize growing, unprecedented achievement. You don't want this. What else do you want? You don't want this.
Well, thank you. Let me engage just briefly.
My brothers in the northern regions are now witnessing experiences. What? Interchange. Acquirable sign. Acquirable sign.
So acquirable sign. That's why I want to engage. I want to engage Kwame Abuja ranking on the roads committee. President says over 10,000 roads have been constructed under his administration. First time in the history of this country, no government has constructed more roads than the Akufo-Addo administration.
This is the record of what the president caused his road minister to publish as data on road projects they have undertaken from 2017 to 2021. The first page talks about the regional breakdown. Then the third page talks about the breakdown. Let's read it. Total road program is what? 4,200 kilometers. Out of that, asphaltic overlay, 1,400. Construction, that is the only road that they've contracted from scratch, is 68 kilometers. The other one, graveling and re-graveling, 900 kilometers. Partial reconstruction, 139 kilometers. Reconstruction, 90 kilometers. Rehabilitation, 830 kilometers. Resealing, spot improvement, 139 kilometers. Total in this document, published by the government, is 4,230 kilometers.
This is May 2021.
May 2021. So they constructed 6,000 kilometers in 7 months. If you read this document from the president, which talks about 4,200 kilometers, and he stands in front of the people and says he's constructed 10,000 kilometers, what word will you use to describe the president's comment? No, you help.
No, you told me.
A liar.
The president lied.
I mean, he's the president of the state.
The president of the state should be telling the truth. How do you publish this? You publish this, 4,000, and guess what? This includes pothole patching. The only road they've done, apart from asphaltic overlay, is 68 kilometers. Where from the 10,000 kilometers? Mr. President, you wanted us to come together with you, but I don't want to be with you as a liar. You lied, Mr. President. The roads you said you've worked on, not constructed, worked on, which include re-graveling, graveling, asphaltic overlay, it's only 4,200 kilometers. Mr. President, how do you want the whole country, including pastors, or Okonfo, Muslims, to be with you in your game of lying. We cannot be with you. You lied about it.
So perhaps you can say he misled. I mean, if what you're saying is
my
true.
brother, don't find
misinformation.
My brother,
but lying is
my
quite
brother.
a strong word.
Look, listen. In this country, when you are black, you are black. When you are white, you are white. If somebody knows the truth and says otherwise, how do you call the person?
Right. So, so the Tamale interchange.
It's not an interchange.
Listen. Hold on. No. The Tamale interchange. I think. Hold on. Oh well, the dictionary definition of an interchange is anytime there's a grade the separation, you can call it an. I can give them to them, but don't forget, Tamale interchange is one of the smallest of the phase 1 of the Sino Hydro project, all of which should have been completed by 2020. Out of the 10 projects, only one. If you have you set an exam, and there's a 2 hours exam, and after 4 hours you've answered one question, what do you tell the person? What bomb?
Well, so that's Kwame Abuja there for you. I mean, your highlights quickly on this one.
Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution is very clear. The President shall deliver the State of the Nation's address. What we witnessed today was not the State of the Nation's address. It was the State of Nation promises. The President once again spent over 90% of the time telling us promises. And the shocker was that the palpable falsehood. The President stated that the sugar factory, that it is 86% complete. The reasons why people had problems with it was when they said that we didn't have the raw materials. I want you to ask the President whether they have identified the raw materials and as to whether they have enough raw materials for which reason they intend to commission. He mentioned the word corruption once, and he didn't tell us how they were going to fight corruption. He told us anti-corruption agencies and that the resources are available.
And the fact that he's resourced.
What happened to the special prosecutor? The special prosecutor they appointed, for which reason they want to tell us that they went beyond MPP and appointed an NDC person. How did he describe the President? He described the President as the mother serpent for corruption. So if you want to look at the verdicts given to the office of the special prosecutor by this President and Mr. Martin Amido, is nothing to write home about. But let me make this conclusive statement. Even the current special prosecutor himself lamented publicly the ingredients that would aid him to execute his responsibility fairly, sincerely, and honestly. That ingredients deliberately is not given to him. So what is the guarantee that the President meant? And you see, you need to juxtapose the State of the Nation's address this year with what was delivered in 2017. You will come to one conclusion, that Honorable Haruna was right, that the President is running away from the word corruption.
I see. I've been engaging some of the minority. I will engage the majority briefly and I come to you. And so let me just engage Honorable Hassan Tampuli here. Honorable, thank you very much for your time. I just want to find out from you. The President has spoken. What has been the highlight for you, sir?
I think essentially you can see from the body language of Excellency the President the conciliatory nature of the delivery that he did today, and very, very sincere in his presentation. He captured the essence of today's Ghana and measured it in terms of the global, situation that we find ourselves. Everywhere in the world, cost of living has gone high. In the West, in Asia, Africa here, our neighbors, everywhere across the world, there is hardship. And so what government does to ameliorate the hardship is what I believe is what is of essence to us. And the Finance Minister has spoken about all the measures that have been put in place for us to be able to deal with this hardship across the country.
Minority has consistently made the point that the economy was already on its knees before the outbreak of COVID and, of course, the Russian-Ukraine war.
What's their evidence? All the elements pointed to the top. Inflation was single digits, all right? Our GDP to debt ratio was solid, all right? Our international reserve was solid, 6 months of import cover and so on and so forth. Everything that a good economy, must manifest prior to the outbreak of COVID was pointing in a correct direction. Everywhere in the world, fuel prices change differently, even 2 or 3 times in some countries. We have 2 weeks. We didn't wish to reflect our prices at the pump. Today, Nigerians are suffering. All right? Ivorians are suffering. Togolese are suffering. It's not a Ghanaian phenomenon. Prices of flour, are going to shoot up in the next couple of days based on the war in Ukraine. And nobody can deny that fact. Russia is a major exporter of wheat. Now, where do we get wheat from? With the sanctions that have been put on Russia. So a lot of things are going to look very, very tight. But hopefully, with the measures that the president has put in place, we hope to recover lost grounds, and then we'll be on the height.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable. We're still getting some reactions. Eugene Batuenchi is here. Honorable Eugene, thank you very much for your time. Let me engage you briefly. The president has spoken, a minority says clearly he did not state the true state of the nation address. Your quick reaction.
And what is the true state of affairs? According to my minority, what is the true state of affairs?
Well, I mean, the economy. The economy is in shambles. That people are suffering.
The economy is not in shambles. The budget was delivered by the finance minister, right? We had a very contentious matter vis-a-vis the E-LEVY, right? Thankfully, yesterday, Parliament has duly passed it. So how can you say the economy is in shambles? It's one step at a time. I mean, the president has spoken. The E-LEVY has been passed. We're just waiting for the president to give his full assent to
When is he going to do that, by the way?
Possibly this week, in course of next week, that shall be done. And then we look at the revenue, the revenue streaming in for the finance minister to determine which the critical areas of the budget. You guys seen the sports minister walk past. There was the display by the heroic display by the Black Stars yesterday in Abuja. It's also worth commendation. These are the things that will engage us. The whole country is in a jubilant mood. The president has spoken to that effect. And I believe that, in the next few months, we'll see good news.
I see. Thank you very much, the Subin MP, there, Eugene Batuenchi, indicating that in the next few months we'll be seeing some good news. So we're still getting some quick reactions from the members of Parliament here. This afternoon, the president has spoken. In fact, I saw the General Secretary of the NDC a while ago, and of course, the chairman is here. Let's engage the chairman briefly.
Very impressive, I must say. And I think the House also did very well by not making too much noise and let Ghanaians listen to the State of the Nation address. They were all very attentive.
Okay. Yesterday, the House passed the E-LEVY as well.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Of course. What is that? Finally, it's been passed. And that's good. We were waiting for it. It is in the best interest of this country to get on with it so that we could continue with the development programs of the government. So we have a little money to support government projects and programs. I think Parliament did well by passing the E-LEVY.
The minority says the levy was passed under, or perhaps it was an illegality, a nullity, because your side of the House, that's the majority caucus, did not have the numbers. Kojokum was not in the chamber, Adjo Safu was not in the chamber, and so you cannot have the needed quorum.
That's chickenery. That's chickenery. They themselves were part. They took part in the debate. They should have been there. At the niche of time when they knew it is going to be passed, and then the numbers were there, and they found themselves out. Everything is started. Just a continuation. So far as I'm concerned, it's self-serving. What they are saying is to save their faces. But the E-LEVY has been passed. So,
but you've been a member of Parliament before. At the third reading, you need a specific number of MPs present in the House to take a decision. During the third reading, the minority were not in the chamber.
Please listen. As you said, I've been a member of the House. That if you talk about numbers, people raise it on the floor by members. Who was there who raised the numbers? Who raised it?
The Speaker couldn't have raised the issue of quorum. That's because the minority filed out. You could have raised the matter of quorum.
Look, ask the Speaker. It is not the Speaker's duty to raise quorum, to raise numbers. It is members of the House who have the impression that there is something going wrong. That's why you come out with it. Where were they? Who raised it? Nobody raised it. When it has been started, and they completed it. For you now to turn around to say that there was not, it means, as I said, politics to your own supporters. Because the burden of standing against the E-LEVY passing for this country was too much on their shoulders. They had to give in. The politics of playing to the gallery been exhausted. So they had to allow it to go on. To go on.
But they've served notice that they're going to challenge that.
Why not? Everybody.
They want to file an injunction against the president.
Let me quote General Mosquito. He says everybody can go to court. Why not?
So they should go to court.
Why not? It's a free country.
But for you, will this E-levy see through, and when are we seeing through?
We passed the E-levy. The president commented on that.
Implementation.
It's behind us. We are implementing it.
Yeah, when is it happening?
Let's go to. Of course.
The E-levy.
So those are reactions from Parliament after the State of the Nation address delivered by President Akufo-Addo. You heard the minority challenging the authenticity of the claims that government has built over 10,000 kilometer roads. You heard the minority also talking about the State of the Nation not addressing corruption issues and also not indicating plans to end it. Majority side of the House actually is optimistic that the plans put together by government will address the issues facing Ghanaians. They admit, Hassan Tampuli, for instance, MP for Gushegu, admits that there's general hardship in the country because of COVID and also complexed by the Ukraine-Russia clash. And he says that the economic management team has put together a very good plan that will revive the economy and make lives better. You have the chairman of the NPP, Freddie Blay, who says that the minority has no locus to challenge the passage of the E-levy. If they had issues with quorum, they should have stayed in the chamber to raise those matters. So these are issues coming from the State of the Nation's address. Definitely we'll be doing all the analysis for you on the Joy News channel. This is where you need to stay. Now, President Akufo-Addo has also admitted the economy is going through hard times and has acknowledged the anxiety created among the populace as a result. This is contained in the opening part of the State of the Nation address he delivered a while ago. Let's hear him.
Was that nobody knew very much about it. The scientists, the health experts, and the World Health Organization were all united in their view that the virus would cause a lot of devastation. The world before COVID now seems such a long time ago, and the trauma of a world ruled by a pandemic has changed all our perspectives. Back in March 2020, when the first cases of COVID hit our country, we and the rest of the world were in uncharted territory. Fear and sheer terror gripped our President of the Republic. From the focus point as head of government, from the enviable position of a husband, a father, and a grandfather, I know that there is a general sense of anxiety in our nation at the moment. The Ghanaian people are anxious about the economy, the cost of living, income levels, jobs for young people, and even about issues on which we all thought we had achieved a national consensus. When some amongst us are raising questions about the certainties on which we are building the state, it is not surprising that worries about the stability of the government would become cause for heightened tension in the nation.
So the president has been congratulating the Black Stars and cheering them on. Head coach of the Black Stars of Ghana, Otto-Addo, is full of praise himself for the players of the Black Stars and who urged past Nigeria to book a spot at the 2022 FIFA World Cup to be staged in Qatar. Speaking to Joy News' George Addo Jr. right after the game, Otto-Addo Jr., Otto-Addo, who is also the assistant manager at German Giants Dortmund, said, although the Nigerians were better for some part of the game, the Stars ultimately triumphed over the Super Eagles.
Has qualified to the World Cup. What is the feeling like?
Yeah, I'm really delighted, exhausted. It was a tough match. We fight our way through. We had big problems, especially in the first half. And yeah, I think through some changes, the players, it's a player game that they adapted very well. And still, they had some good chances. Our goalkeeper was there when we needed him. You know, the defensive line was outstanding, and yeah, we had a little bit of luck also. Because if you see the chances and everything, on all, the Nigerians were better. I feel a bit pity for them, but this is football sometimes, and we fought our way through. I don't know, the referee was against us somehow. It's not, yeah. Why not go? I really want to thank, first of all, God for helping us, letting us through to the World Cup. Then secondly, happy birthday to the President. And then thank you to Mr. Kweku for giving me this opportunity. Also to the Baku, who was also always supporting me since I'm a kid. I know it since I'm 13 years old. And then surely we have to give big thanks, because this was only 2 games. So there was a lot of work which was done before. Milo, they all belong to this. You know, we are all in this together. You know, for Milo, for Nenad, his assistant, for CK Akona, and then also for the players who are not here. First, Capito, you done well. You got so many goals for Ghana. And then all the others. You know, I can't mention all names. You know, Kamal Dean, Baba Rahman, who are all not there. Bakaso, who suffered a lot. I love you guys, and thank you for giving us this opportunity. Thank you for the guys who are here today, who gave all, and thank you for the fans. And thank you very much to the Kumasi fans. Kumasi, I love you. The last greetings goes to my boys from Bubashi. I love you too.
Yeah.
Former Football Association spokesperson Ibrahim Sani Dara has meanwhile attributed the performance of the Black Stars to the new coach Otto-Addo, who was appointed on the interim basis for the 2-legged qualifiers against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. He wants him to be handed the job on a permanent basis. Well, President of the Ghana Football Association could not hold back his joy.
Heaven knows where we will get there. We will get Japan. It will be all we know. But the road, we got it again. Heaven knows that we will get there. We will pum tapa.
President Akufo-Addo has meanwhile been sending congratulatory messages to the coach and team for a good job.
Done. Well done, well done. But when you come here, we're going to kidnap you. We're not going to allow you to go back to Dortmund. Where we'll, so be very careful when you're entering. You might not be able to leave Ghana again. Thank you, I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. It's the best possible birthday present I could have had. Is the news of your qualification for the World Cup. It's excellent. The whole country is I don't think people are going to sleep tonight. We're all so happy. So congratulations to you. Congratulations to all the boys, the captain, Partey, and all of them. That really, and I'm hoping that I'll see you tomorrow when you come in. All right, sir. Take care. All right, sir. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
That was President Akufo-Addo speaking with Coach Addo. The minority in Parliament is this morning set to challenge the passage of the controversial E-LEVY bill at the Supreme Court. The case will seek to annul Parliament's decision to pass the bill yesterday. The minority will claim before the Apex Court that at the time the bill was being passed, the House did not have what the Supreme Court terms a voting quorum of 138 MPs on the floor. There's more in the following report by my colleague, Kweku Awolwi.
After 3 months of struggle, town hall meetings, engaging stakeholders, fisticuffs in the chamber, a one-sided majority side has finally approved the E-Levy. First, the finance minister was in the chamber to move a motion. But this, according to the minority leadership, was in one way or the other smuggling the levy into today's order paper because it was not captured in the business statement for this week.
Electronic Transfer Levy Bill 2021. Why? When you present a business statement, it was not part of the business which was approved for the House. We have time and again warned and cautioned that we never want to be taken by surprise on a major economic policy bill of government. We have always insisted, Mr. Speaker, you can go to the Hansard every other Friday. We have said that never take us by surprise. Because, Mr. Speaker, Parliament cannot be when I conveniently have my numbers, then business can go on. It cannot be. And we will not accept that culture. Let them be sure that we are ready for them. We will debate you and we will vote against it. We won't support it. We are ready for you.
In spite of the accusation, the Speaker paved way for the motion to be moved.
I beg to move that the Electronic Transfer Levy Bill be now read a second time.
Now, whilst the majority leader was expected to conclude the debate, the minority actually staged a walkout.
I'll disappoint you because I'm concluding, Mr. Speaker. I know that you are time bound. So what do you do? So, Mr. Speaker, this side, we don't support E-Levy. We will not support E-Levy. Count us out of it. They can proceed with whatever business they want to do. I thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Wait, he's waving. He's waving. Mr. Speaker, put the question. What of the put the question. Put the question. Put the question. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, put the question. My colleagues are in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues are in the chamber. I invite you to put the question now. Put the question now. They're in the chamber.
And so I proceed to put the question. Those in favor of the adoption of the report of the committee in support of the second reading of the Electronic Transaction Levy Bill 2021, say aye. Those against, say no. Honorable members, the ayes have it.
The Speaker of the House, apart from the fact that the minority has staged a walkout, indicated to the House that indeed they still have the required numbers to proceed with the consideration of the motion.
When you keep on giving surprises to the Speaker will also be giving you surprises. But these surprises to the Speaker sometimes are overwhelming. And so we need to continue to make sure that we process the bill. I have no problem with us going on with the consideration. because the House is properly constituted. You know, walkout doesn't stop the House from proceeding with its business. And so, my pleasure is for us to continue. And we'll move to the consideration stage of the bill.
The majority side were excited over the approval of the levy, insisting that this levy would definitely go a long way to help cushion the Ghanaian economy.
If we have to do revenue mobilization inside the country, what it means is that we will curtail the rate of borrowing and thereby curtail the increasing debt stock. Who in Ghana, which MP would say that he doesn't like this? So, colleagues, I believe we are adding them on these matters. Now, what Parliament ought to be looking at is reportage. How much is coming? How are we applying those revenues? And I think that Parliament's oversight responsibility should come into play.
But the minority held a press conference and alleged that what was done in the chamber is illegal.
And voting with at least half of all the members of Parliament present. During second reading, you did not have half of members of Parliament present. During the consideration stage, you did not have half of members of Parliament present, per the Supreme Court ruling. And during the third reading, you did not have, during third reading, you did not have half of the members of Parliament, more than half of the members of Parliament present and voting. Therefore, those of you who are celebrating with them that E-LEVY have been passed and accordingly passed, your excitement will be short-lived. Immediately after this press briefing, we intend to file to question the legitimacy of the decision of less than one half of members of Parliament taking a decision to approve E-LEVY at second reading following our walkout, and at third reading, which is required, that a bill be subjected to third reading. The supposed E-LEVY bill was subjected to a third reading with less than one half.
Minority Leader Aruna Idriso ending that report by Parker Wilson. Let's go to the court because court correspondent Joseph Akable has been monitoring the filing of the suit against the controversial E-LEVY passage of the controversial E-LEVY. He joins me via Zoom with more. Joseph, has the minority been successful with the filing of the suit?
Yes, Aisha. In fact, just a couple of hours ago, the filing was done. Specifically at the Supreme Court, and the arguments that are raised in the document is very similar to what we heard the minority leader say a short while ago. So they are raising issues about the fact that the Parliament have the required quorum and relying on the case of Justice Abdullahi versus the Attorney General to make the point that per that decision, the quorum for decision making should be at least half of the members of Parliament, and they say that this put the figure at 138, and so anything that falls short of 138 simply means that the action is contrary to law. And so the minority leader is joined by his two colleagues, Mahama Yarda and Samuel Okujetu Ablakwa, and they are urging at the Apex Court to declare that the purported approval of the policy on Tuesday is null and void and of no legal effect, and also asking the court to set aside the said approval of the policy.
Do we know when the court will sit on the matter?
We do not know that yet, especially because we know that for the normal course of events, it will mean that it has to be brought to the attention of the Office of the Attorney General. A response will legally have to be filed or appearance entered. And then from there, we know when that could happen. But for now, we know that it's been filed.
Joseph Akablaze, our man in court, definitely will be monitoring this and bring you all the updates. So what kind of services will or will not be affected by this e-levy? Here's a breakdown for you. Mobile money transfers between accounts on the same electronic money issuer, mobile money transfers from an account on one EMI to a recipient on another EMI, transfers from bank accounts to mobile money accounts, transfer from mobile money accounts to bank accounts, and bank transfers on a digital platform or application which originates from a bank account belonging to an individual to another individual. These are transactions that the e-levy will cover. Now, it will not cover these transactions. Cumulative transfers of 100 cedis per day made by the same person, transfers between accounts owned by the same person, transfers for the payment of taxes, fees, charges on the Ghana.gov platform, electronic clearing of checks, specified merchant payments, that is payments to commercial establishments registered with the GRA for income tax and VAT purposes, and transfers between principal, master agent, and agent's account. Away from the e-levy, a former chief executive of the Volta River Authority, Kweku Awolwi, has underscored the importance of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, can play in reducing Ghana's unemployment rate. He says he thus called for a collaboration between the academia and the industries to roll out effective STEM projects to help train more of Ghana's workforce. Joy News' Samuel Brace has more.
Ghana's unemployment rate has been on the ascendancy for quite a long time now. The country has been grappling with this with little success. One important factor resulting in the increased rate of unemployment is the lack of collaboration between academia and industry in fashioning out tailor-made training for students. Many proposals have been made towards reversing the trend. In his proposal, Kweku Awolwi, one of Ghana's leading human assets in the energy sector, believes industry must find a way of reaching out to academia to help in the training of human resource for the job market with a focus on STEM, as it holds an important key in producing tailor-made labor pool for industry. He was speaking exclusively to Joy News at the sidelines of the launch of the Worcester Polytechnic Institute's Applied STEM project here in Accra.
Important thing, an important ingredient is collaboration. And it's also just the posture of academia in particular to reach out to industry, to collaborate with them, and vice versa. Not a lot of institutions do that. I think in this particular case, we're here with an institution, an academic-based initiative. You know, WPI has reached out. They say it's applied STEM, and they say it's project-based and purpose-driven, and they need partners to get it done. So if you don't have that collaboration, it won't happen. Equally, and I think a lot of companies recognize this, companies need to understand that their workforce needs to be well-trained, well-skilled. In the case of STEM, you know, if you're in the oil and gas industry, if you're in the electricity or power industry, you need engineers, you need highly trained technicians. And so it's in industry's interest to reach out to academia to help with scholarships, internships, training. And it's going on, and we need to do more of it. And I would say that collaboration has to really increase to make it fruitful.
The distinguished statesman in residence at Worcester Polytechnic Institute and Ghana's former ambassador to the U.S., Dr. Bafo Ejebewa, also added that industries and businesses in Ghana must make it a point to support in the implementation of STEM projects to help train Ghana's next generation of leaders.
Business and industry in this country can shoulder a large proportion of this, especially on the applied side. And the thing is, if the government were to do it alone, in the final analysis, who gets the benefit? By way of employing people who have skills, who have been trained and all that. So the government should also learn how to access business and industry for them to be able to do some of these things. It just so happens that government sometimes fails even to support the little bit of what have you that they can do with business and industry. And therefore, they find it difficult to get them also to return the favor. And to a large extent, some of the cynics might say that you run an organization that makes sandals. What you need is a little cubicle where you can store your little apparatus with which you make the sandals. So you approach the kind of government organization that can and is known to be able to give you that cubicle for a while. You find somebody talking all kinds of talk, basically telling you that, well, but unless, you can't have it. This is where, you see, if we have an upfront policy, that you want to do this, we have this facility here, we can give it to you, but within such and such a period, you ought to be able to do this. Now, after that period, you ought to be able to take 2 people who would also want to go into that industry and train them. If indeed it becomes necessary for the government to support you in terms of buying some more machinery so that you can train the other people, fair.
So when will this needed collaboration between academia and industry become that effective to produce human resource needed by the market? Only time will tell. Joy News, I am Samuel Kojo Brace.
And I am Aisha Ibrahim here in the studio. Executive Director of Star Ghana, Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, says processes are ongoing for the enactment of a law to enhance the governance of the civil society sector following recent concerns about the conduciveness of the environment for civic engagement. There's currently a trust bill on non-governmental organizations and a draft of non-profit organizations bill aimed at regulating activities of CSOs in the country. Samuel Mbura has more.
CSOs in the history of civil movement in Ghana have made attempts at fostering a united front, which is evident in the establishment of the platforms such as the Ghana Association of Private Voluntary Organizations in Development in the 1980s. This is further deepened by the thematic funder guarantee issue-based groupings, meetings and network. The Executive Director of Star Ghana, Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, who spoke to Joy News at a National Civil Society Forum seeking to establish a common platform to promote knowledge sharing, said there's a need for them to work towards enhancing accountability to the citizenry and strengthening their capacities to be more effective.
Civil society organizations differ according to where they work, what issues they focus on, the types of civil society organizations, and etc. So we are quite different. But we think that across these differences, there are areas where of common interest, how we can enhance our accountability to the citizens of this country, how we can strengthen our capacity to be more effective, in the work that we do, but also how to ensure that we are legitimate and we comply with the regulatory requirements. We want to create a space where periodically we can come together to assess the health of the civil society sector, but also to see what can we do to ensure that civil society organizations are more sustainable, they are more effective, they are more legitimate, and they are more accountable. Outside of that, organizations differ in what they want to achieve, and we don't think that it is possible and necessary to try and then pull everybody together under one umbrella.
Ghana currently has a vibrant NGO and CSO system with a total of about 2,295 registered institutions. But just like any other sector, this space also has peculiar challenges. Mr. Ibrahim Tanko Amidu explains.
Well, there are quite a number of challenges. First is the whole issue around declining assistance to the sector. A lot of civil society organizations depend on external donors for their funding. Now, this funding is decreasing. And so how do we re-strategize to look at how we fund the work of civil society organizations? That's number one. Number two is how do we, around certain issues, how do we have collective action, beyond what's our specific objectives? What mechanisms do we have for collective or coordinated action? The third is around, the regulatory framework
how do we advocate with governments to ensure that we have policies and laws and etc. that provide an enabling environment for civil society organizations to work on. And I think the fourth is looking at our own accountability mechanisms. What do we need to do to support civil society organizations to be more accountable to not just the donors, but also to the citizens of this country, because it is in their name that we are working. And so that whole thing around mechanisms for accountability is quite important.
Meanwhile, founder and president of Imani Africa, Franklin Kujo, said CSOs will have to consider internal funding of the activities.
Well, there's segmentation. I mean, there are national level organizations and there are local level organizations. I can imagine that there's a common theme that runs through the challenges, which is finance. It's even more precarious right now, given the impairment of the global economy, not just the recent Ukrainian crisis, but also COVID. And indeed, the funding for the space was almost dwindling, even before the onset of this rather unforeseen challenges. So, like I tell people, it's crunch time. I mean, it's about time we looked at resources from within. Because ultimately, what we do benefit the people of Ghana. I am quite worried that we normally raise money from our side, or we have donors who come and give us money to do work that will benefit Ghanaians. Most of the time, people think that when donors give us money, it is for the benefit of the donors. Of course, they may have an interest in making sure Ghana is stable and what have you, but if
And still to come in business, some cooperative credit unions welcome the decision by Credit Union Association to maintain interest on loans at 3%. We have details shortly in business.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business. I am Beverly Broom. Some cooperative credit unions have welcomed the decision by Credit Union Association to maintain interest on loans at 3%. This is in the wake of the Bank of Ghana's policy rate increase by 2.5% for the first time since November 2018. Board Chairman for Oil and Gas Cooperative Credit Union, Engineer Gideon Kuma, explains the move by the association will keep businesses of members afloat. Nanaya Oljima has more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana's policy rate increase to 17% is expected to control the rising inflation and fall of the cedi. The move is, however, expected to increase the cost of loans since commercial banks will borrow at a higher rate. But the Credit Union Association has decided to maintain interest rate at the existing 3%, which puts members in a position to borrow more for their businesses. Board Chairman of the Oil and Gas Cooperative Credit Union, Engineer Gideon Kuma, explains the credit unions stand a higher chance to increase customer base.
Our number one supervisor, which is Credit Union Association of Ghana, they brought out those, they give us the rate, and they have indicated that they are not going to change it, and therefore we can also not change it. When we have any challenge, they are our first point of contact to fall on, and they always back us. So we believe that we can be able to make it, and I believe they have also done their checks and balances to know why they are not increasing it.
The Oil and Gas Cooperative Credit Union started in March 2018 and has grown its total assets from over 294,000 cedis to over 1 million cedis. Savings contribution increased from 211,000 to 713,000 cedis, while shares of members increased to 190,000 cedis from 120,000. Loans disbursed to members increased by over 500,000 cedis. With trade surplus of 270,000 cedis in 2021, management believes it is about time the credit union opened up to the public.
Intentionally didn't rush to go to the public. We have sat down to think about it with the board, with other committees, and train some of them, and even speaking with some of the banks to also assist us in building capacity before we go to the public, because we didn't want to start anything that we cannot sustain.
The Oil and Gas Cooperative Credit Union is committing to prudent management as the union prepares to open up to the public.
As part of activities to mark this year's Engineering Week, the Ghana Institute of Engineering has held its 31st induction ceremony, placing a call on all professional engineers in Ghana to abide to the rules and regulations guiding the profession. There's more in this report.
The senior engineers who were inducted include civil engineers in the Mechanical, Agric, Marine Technical Division, the Chemical Mining Technical Division, and the Electrical Electronic Technical Division. Swearing in the inductees, President of the Ghana Institute of Engineering, Professor Charles Enum Adams, charged them to apply high ethics and standards in the discharge.
I believe you will participate in the processes helping to achieve our objectives. Our inductees, you are here because you took the bold step to become professional engineers. No educational institution can make you a professional engineer. It is only professionals who can make professionals.
The chairman of the membership committee advised the senior engineering inductees to use their expertise in engineering to improve the quality of life of Ghanaians in key areas like development of water supply, power roads, health, sanitation, among others.
Constitution mandates the membership committee to waive off the entry requirements with the approval of council. Thus, candidates who have the requisite engineering qualification and have practiced a considerable number of years and have proved their mettle, but for some reason not registered to be members of the institution, are considered for the confirmation hearing.
That'll be all for business, but at 1 o'clock, do join us for Marketplace. Thank you.
That's how we wrap up news today. Let me also remind you that the Black Stars are scheduled to meet the president this afternoon at the presidency. We'll bring you all the details of that meeting. Nathaniel Arthur will be coming your way at 2 p.m. We will be bringing you all the updates from that meeting and other issues concerning the Black Stars qualification to Qatar. But from all of us here at Joy News, let's say congratulations to the gallant Black Stars. We are so proud of you. We love you.